So it was a Wednesday evening. I was down here with two of my friends from art school, and we were just sitting here having a half pint or whatever it was, and in they walked. Yeah. And the first thing that I thought was, wow, look at these guys. They look like they're someone. They were all dressed in the black leathers, and they had the guitars with them, and it was obvious that, you know, they weren't just a busking band off the street, that they were somebody a bit special. And then as I was looking, you know, I recognised Strummer's face, but I was thrown by the fact that his hair was dyed red at the time. But I was looking, and then I looked across and I saw Simonon, and I thought, I'd know that face anywhere. That is Paul Simonon. And then I looked back at Strummer and I heard him speaking, and as soon as I heard his voice, I thought, oh my God, this is the Clash, it's the Clash. The Clash are here, and Nico's have just walked into my life. And so from that point then I thought, oh, I really have to get an autograph. So I plucked up the courage eventually to tap Strummer on the shoulder, and he turned round and asked for his autograph, and he very coolly said, sorry, we don't do that, and so I felt really embarrassed, and he said, ask him, and so I got chatting to one of the other guys, I think it was Vince, and I said to him, so what is it you're doing? And he explained that they were bringing out this album, that they were just trying to get back to their roots by doing a busking tour around Britain. And I said, oh, you must be staying somewhere really amazing. And he said, actually no, we don't know where we're staying yet, we're just going to stay with anybody that'll put us up. And of course, quick as a flash, I said, stay mine if you like, not expecting for a second that they would actually say, wow, that would be really cool. But then Vince turned round to Strummer and said, oi, Joe, we've got a crash for the night. You can imagine the phone call, phoning my flatmate and saying, Claire, I'm in Nico's, the Clash have just walked in, and you'll need to tidy up because they're coming back to stay tonight.
Gillian, we're on Hindland Road now.
We are.
Which is where your flat was in 1985.
Indeed, in 1985. This is where I was living. We piled into the flat, and I remember the complete disbelief on Claire's face when I walked in with them, and she thought, oh my God, it's actually true. And then they basically made themselves very much at home, and headed straight for the kitchen and started making themselves pasta. So I had one chopping onions and one boiling water, and I just remember thinking, the Clash are cooking pasta in my kitchen.
Now we're outside something that's now called Soho.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day it was a really trendy bar. It was called The Fix, Fixx. So The Fix was the first place they actually did a gig. That was the first place that, you know, I saw them coming to life. For me, it's supposed significant because even though I was hanging about with them, I didn't know, I hadn't heard them play yet. So this is
the moment.
Yeah, and there'd been a lot of sort of humming and hawing and a bit, you know, little bits of tension and indecisions and things. And I suppose for me, it all just came to life here, and you know, we started playing.
By the time you got here, you're on the road with the Clash.
Well, I suppose that I was still pinching myself the whole time that it was sort of happening. Looking across at what was the Rock Garden.
Right.
The Rock Garden was the second place that I went down to with the Clash on the Wednesday night, because they wanted to try and organise a gig for the next day there, which is what happened. And so we came down here, and the boys got quite a few free beers, and they organised to play there the next day at 3 o'clock. And they played down in the basement, and it was incredible. So it was quite a small place, so you had people standing in the chairs, and you know, people like just absolutely jammed in.
So even without mobile phones, word had got round by then.
It had. Yeah. I just, you know, I've got a sort of mental image of all these phones ringing off the hook, and you know, just everybody phoning everybody else, and word got around who needed mobile phones. It still happens. In fact, today it could never have happened. It would just have been too much. It would just have been impossible. So in a way,
thousands of people.
Yeah, it just wouldn't. It simply wouldn't have happened.
They'd all be doing that with mobile phones.
Exactly.
As well. Yeah.
But I've got a fantastic memory actually of this particular gig down the stairs. with Strummer, who again, he'd been very quiet at that particular point. I think there was something, I can't remember what was going on, but there was something really had been bugging him, and he was being quite sort of grumpy and grouchy, and then he got on stage, and again it was just, he just completely lit up, came to life, and he was dancing. They were actually dancing on top of the tables. He actually fell back at some point and fell like on me, and had to sort of like help him back up on stage, and he still was gracious enough to turn around and apologise. And the other fantastic thing was that he jumped up on he was up on the table, and he got one of the spotlights that were up on the ceiling, and he actually turned the spotlight so it was lighting up the whole band, which I thought, you know, how cool is that? He knew exactly what he was doing, and the place just was going wild.
Okay, Gillian, now we're outside the aptly named The Rogue.
Indeed.
Back in the day, it was Duke's.
It was called Duke's Bar, and it was a really fantastic little sort of Western themed bar. And the owner of Duke's was famously a huge Clash fan. And when word got to him that they were in town, he offered the band free mezcal all night to play. So how could they possibly refuse? When they played here, it was the Thursday night, so it was the last evening they played in Glasgow. We came from Woodland Road in the afternoon, and we came up here, and I remember them playing drums in the taxi and singing what I think was Summertime Blues, and me sitting in the middle thinking, this is just, I have to store this mental image forever. And what was incredible is actually the bar inside is very small, so there was really a limit to the number of people that were able to get in, and they did start playing inside, but then you could see the windows are quite high, but you could see all these faces of people that were obviously like on each other's, jumping up and on like shoulders and backs to see what was going on, and I just remember Strummer saying, no, come on, we're going to give the people what they want, and the band all came out and played to this massive people who had found out where they were. They played they were standing down there just when I suppose there was a bit more space for people around there, and there was just a huge crowd of people watching them playing there, and it was just, So I did know this was going to be the last place that they played in their wee busking tour of Glasgow, because we'd set it up the day before. So what we did was we came in here for lunch actually the day before. So that's why we're in here. This is the Vic, and what used to happen was there would be a big buffet set all the way down what is now the bar there, and people would just come and get their plates and fill up as they went along. But of course the guys didn't have any money, but even the little Irish woman called Mona, who was a force to be reckoned with, she knew who they were, and
really,
she, of course, everybody. Well, the word had got out, so everybody kind of knew what was going on. So it was amazing walking in and just seeing people's responses as they sort of looked and then looked again, and the realisation came over them.
So now we're upstairs in the school.
Yep.
And this is the place they actually play. This is the hall, and behind us is the stage, it indeed was.
Yeah, exactly the same as it was, pretty much.
Okay, what was the atmosphere like?
Unbelievable. It was just so full, people clambering in the door to try and get in. Surreal, I think, is the word I would use to describe
And what were
it.
the audience like? Were they...
Oh, I mean, so loud, loud. I could hear what the Clash were playing, but I heard afterwards that apparently you couldn't hear a lot of what was being played just because of the volume of noise of people cheering and singing along. Everybody, they were so massive at the time, everybody knew all the words of all the songs, and one of the abiding memories is of Pete Howard, the drummer, playing the drums on a plastic chair. On the back of the chair, the handle of the chair probably had another chair beside him, and he was just hammering the hell out of this chair, and I think probably to try and generate a noise above the crowd.
So how many people were on the stage apart from the band and you? That was it?
It was just
so
it. But
you were in the Clash?
Yeah, I was, I wouldn't say backing singer, but I was certainly smiling away happily in the background, trying not to be too obvious. I don't think anybody, and nobody would have noticed me anyway. I was just sitting up the back of the stage, just watching it all unfold.
So how long did they play for?
I think they played about 5 songs.
Right. And then they were straight out of here?
And they were pretty much straight out of here. I was still with them then, and so I had to take them down to the train station because I think they were going...
Well, they were going to Manchester.
They were going to Manchester, but as you say, they never played there. But we stopped for a curry on the way down, so that just was their way of saying thanks to me for putting them up for a couple of nights, which I thought was really sweet. Just trying to hold on to every second of memory, because I knew that in an hour, that was it, they'd be gone, and it would all be like a dream. But there was already sort of... You could tell there was tensions, and there was a lot of people wanting to do. There was some of them were wanting to do one thing, and then there was a lot of indecision. And when I look back, now that I know what I know now, when I look back, really, it did have a sense of something that was coming to an end. Yeah. But I think Strummer, he did seem quite distant from the whole thing, and he just didn't seem in a happy space. Yeah. Until he was on stage, and then it really was incredible, the difference. He was just a born entertainer. It was fantastic. The 17th of May. I don't know what to say or where to begin. How depressing to think of normal life after 2 days like that. Maybe it was my long-awaited gift. It certainly blew all my anxieties to the wind, so I should write it down now so I won't forget any of it. But I've just come from the station, and a big soppy farewell as they were off to Manchester. Even Joe gave me a big kiss. He was the only one that kept his distance from mostly everyone. The times when I could forget who they were the best. This morning at 3 a.m, I wondered whose floor they'd be crashed on tonight. Oh, I hope those photos turn out. The Clash getting up and organised in the morning. One of the few times I caught Joe in any form of a good mood, dancing to Route 66 before leaping into action. I told Stephen Hay all about it. He's the only one so far who seems to realise how phenomenal the whole thing was to me. He said I should write it all down.
and the